So if a young girl is a prostitute and a grown adult man go out and pay for her, buy her to have sex with her, who is the victim? Uh-huh. If a young girl is a prostitute and a grown guy go out and buy the prostitute, who is the victim? Well, I'm surprised you're pondering it.
Yeah. They're both like victims, I would say.
I'm sorry?
They're both. I mean, him for doing the.
I can't hear you. Are you nervous about the question?
No, I mean, when you're expecting to be the victim by prostituting yourself like that. I mean, it's your choice. It's a woman's choice, or the young girl. But tempting the man to do that evil act. So it's not, I don't think it's the man being the victim either. I don't think either one, because they're expecting, the girl is expecting to be victimized.
Who is the victimizer?
Neither one.
So nobody guilty of anything?
Mm-mm.
Oh, amazing. Don't let the NOW organization hear you say that. The National Organization of Women Who Hate Men? So you say no one, the adult man, nor the young girl.
No.
Is the victimizer or the victim?
No.
Amazing. Cheryl, what do you say? And then here. If a teenage girl is online or on the corner selling her body, and an adult man go and purchase it, who is the victim and the victimizer?
The teenage girl is the victim. And
why do you say that?
Because she's a teenager.
And the guy is what?
He's the victimizer. I mean, if it wasn't a market for it, she couldn't sell it.
If it wasn't a market for it?
If people didn't want it, she couldn't sell it.
But
So,
she did.
What I mean is, she could say, hey, I'm selling my body, but if it would be nice if a man said, you know what, you don't want to do that. Why are you doing that?
Well, it's for
There's
sale.
something wrong.
It's a product.
Sex is not a product.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh.
It's between a man and a wife. It's not. To
No,
be
a
sold.
prostitute, not the wife.
Well, no, it's not. They sell it, but it doesn't make it right.
And so it's not a product?
No.
Why they have different colors?
I could
They
say
have
something
skinny
that would be
ones, and
gross.
fat ones, and soft ones, and hard ones.
Everybody's the same down there, so it's.
Oh,
it's all
so
the
you
same
said the
color.
girl is the victim?
Yes.
And the guy's the victimizer?
Yes.
And why?
Because she's young and she doesn't know any better. That's why kids have parents.
She doesn't know it better?
She doesn't, not really.
She doesn't know she's selling her body online or on the
She
street
does,
corner?
but she doesn't know all the ramifications of what she's doing. Like at 13, I thought differently than I do now. She's
Okay.
young. She doesn't know everything.
Amazing.
So she doesn't. I mean, she'll look back at that and be mortified, guilty,
Yeah.
sorry. It's gonna take her down a rabbit hole doing all that stuff.
And how about the guy, will he look back and feel the same way too?
He may or may not. Hopefully, he will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not
Amazing.
right for
Let me
people
ask this young lady then here. Oh, then here and here. If a teenage girl is selling her body online or on the street, an adult male over 18 go and purchase it, who is the victim? Who is the victimizer?
I agree with Cheryl. I think the young lady is the victim and the man's the victimizer.
And why do you think that?
I think exactly the same thing you said is that she doesn't know any better, and there's probably reasons why she's doing it, but she
doesn't know any better than to sell her body. Don't you have to think about that?
Yeah, but
And
I think
I'm going out today and sell my body. I'm gonna put on perfume or shower. I'm going out to 56th Street. I'm gonna stand on the north side of the street where the cars are coming down. They can get me right there. It takes some thought to do that, right?
You know, the way I can think of this is when I reflect on my own self at 14 or whatever,
Right.
and the things that I did. I did some pretty bad things at 14, and it's not like I couldn't help myself, I guess, because, your life kind of leads you down this path, and you just end up doing some stuff that doesn't seem, right.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so the girl is the victim, being victimized by the guy.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And should he go to jail?
I think grown men need to leave, like, young ladies alone. Like, so then, yeah, I would say, yeah. Like, a grown man shouldn't be with a 15, 14-year-old. I think they need to leave them alone and allow them to grow and allow them to be women.
And should he go to jail?
Yeah.
His name put on the internet, send out a notice that this man is now living in your community?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You should?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. If a teenage girl is on the line or on the street selling her body and an adult male buy it, who is the victim, who is the victimizer?
I was just going to touch on when they were saying that the young girl doesn't know what she's doing, right? And the older man should know better. We're basing that off the premise that the person going out and seeking to buy sex from a woman off the street is like a moral thinking man. Like, you're putting something out there that could be so tempting for people who are so, like, corrupted in their heart,
Right.
that they're going out seeking to buy sex. And then there's a young girl, she could be 17, about to turn 18, she could be 13. The guy could be 19, or he could be 50. It's like, there's a lot of different scenarios, but
Right.
the point is that the man going out and seeking sex from a 19-year-old woman or a 15-year-old woman doesn't know better either. Like, he can't control that, like, urge within him. It's not like he's someone who thinks, I know this is wrong, or believes, I know this is wrong. Women should be taken care of. They should be protected. He doesn't believe that. He doesn't think like that or act like that. He's someone out to, take and enjoy and exploit, and that's the spirit of that man. So, like, he really doesn't know better than the young girl either.
Amazing. So you're saying no victim, no victimizer?
No.
Amazing. Interesting. That's Mark's wife. The wife is smarter than the husband. No. Right here and then there.
So
Yeah.
the young girl's the victim.
The young girl's a
The
victim.
man's a victimizer.
And why do you say that?
She's under 18. She doesn't know right from wrong. People under 18 can't give consent.
So when she's out on the street or online, she's not giving consent?
No. She's saying I want this, but she doesn't know
Isn't
right
that
from wrong.
consent?
No, because she thinks right is wrong and wrong is right. She doesn't know right from wrong.
So she think prostitute is right?
Right.
So she's like, oh, I'm doing a good thing here?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And why do you say that?
Because kids don't know. They don't know right from wrong. They have to be taught it. They think they know things, but they usually have some pretty funny ideas about how the world works.
Oh, okay.
A
So
man-
you're saying that the girl is the victim and the guy is the victimizer?
A grown man
Right.
knows right from wrong, and to comment that they don't on the fact that they don't. No, they do. They all do. There's no
But
way
the
that they don't.
teenage girl doesn't know right from wrong.
No, but then when she turns 18, throw her in jail with the rest of the prostitutes. But until then,
Amazing.
she, we have our rules, and that's one of them.
Oh, okay. Right here.
Well, like you said, she's willing, so she's the dealer and he's the addict, and whatever events would have led her to think that's all right. It's just like Kamala said, it's the same thing. We don't know what he went through. He could be 19, 21. It's not much older. She could be 17.
So who is the victim and who is the victimizer?
Neither one.
Neither one.
They're both wrong, but they don't know it. They can't see it.
Should the guy go to prison or to jail?
I make them talk to you.
After that?
I don't know.
Should
I
he
mean,
go to
if that's
jail?
the law, that's the law. I can't change it, but I don't think it's the best solution.
Should he go to jail?
Not if it was up to me.
Oh, okay. So you're saying no, he should not?
No.
He should not? Oh, okay. Amazing. Yeah, sure. Victoria.
I more or less had a question because now I'm unclear about God's law versus man's law.
Uh-huh.
The reason I say that is because back to the whole how young is too young, because the 17, 19 scenario that everybody's kicking around,
Right.
I've experienced that.
Experience what?
When I met my person, I was 17 and he was 19.
You were a prostitute?
If you really no, I'm going to be real about this.
Yeah.
The only mistake I made is I didn't charge him for it. That was my boyfriend.
Ooh, a
I'm just
free
saying.
prostitute.
So
Those are the
what?
best kind. I didn't pay for it, so you can't go to jail.
But no, so that's what I'm saying. So when I am back to the God's law thing, what I really need clarification on, I don't think there's a victim here, but my question is.
So she's not a victim or victimizer, he's not either?
No, because like I said, if I look at my personal experience, I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew he was 19. I knew we were close enough in age. Nobody was really going to go crazy.
Yeah.
You know? But it didn't mean, but like I said, according to man's law, he was a grown man. I was a child. But I had a job, you know? I was doing things that adults would do.
So should he go to jail?
Absolutely not. No, because I think if a girl is wise enough to know how to use her body to her advantage, she's old enough for the consequences. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Very interesting
But
point.
can I go back to the man's law versus God's law?
Yes.
Many young women start to menstruate when they're like 9 or 10.
They started what?
Bleed. They start to have their period. They have their menstrual cycle.
I'm black and slow. What is menstruate? Oh, that menstruate. He went like this.
Okay.
I thought it was menstrual.
You were going to say ministrate? It's not
Something like
ministrate. It's menstruate.
Period. Okay, go ahead.
Somebody look it up. Okay,
That
listen.
time of the month. Okay, go ahead. That was funny. He went. And then I knew.
Okay, so what I mean is that according to nature, as soon as I begin that part of my life,
Yeah,
I'm equipped to have children.
right.
So
Right.
what makes her becoming a prostitute like wrong? I'm not clear on that completely. So that's what I'm saying. Like if once that starts to happen in your body, does a woman then is she able to dictate what happens with her body? Is she able to then engage in sexual intercourse? Because it's happening so she can bear children.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
again, like I said, this is the 18 thing is man's law. That is not something that God created that to my knowledge. I mean, is it? I don't know. I haven't read the Bible. So.
I want to tell why I asked this question. So I just want to hear from, I want you guys to think about this too, so I'll come back to it in a minute. Yes, sure. Interesting. I haven't nearly gotten to what I wanted to talk about. I had no idea. Yes.
We're sorry.
I'm glad. I like it.
Yeah, I think, when she said, girls know how to use their body, but a 2-year-old girl knows how to wrap her dad around her finger and get what she wants.
Right.
But you wouldn't screw her. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little
she said the
different.
word.
So, but
She sure said the word.
and then
Oh, I see how
when you
you
say,
talk on the street.
I know, sorry, but you wouldn't, But the thing is, and when you talk about
Some guys will.
Okay, so when you
I
talk.
know. Don't you hear the news where guys are with little kids?
Immigrant, the girls.
Yeah.
But I think the reason when you say, well, they have their periods young, I think in the old days, and even like in the 60s and 50s.
Those
Like
days
my
wasn't
aunt-
that old.
Well, what I mean is,
Old
sorry.
days.
But what I'm saying is, you would find like my aunt, like my great aunts, they would get married like at 15 and 16.
Right.
But the men would be providers. They were good men.
Right.
They if you talk, like I had a neighbor, she was like 90, but her husband did everything. He
Yeah.
provided, he paid. All she had to do was stay home. You know what I mean? And so the men were different then. And then I'm thinking back in the biblical days, they probably maybe they did get married at 9 and 10, but the men were different. It was different.
Yeah.
Now, it's not like that.
Amazing.
Because they're betas, right?
Wow. Right here. And then Mark. Okay.
I was thinking about my grandma. She was 14 years old, and my grandfather was 30. And that was when they had their first child. And when I talked to my mom about it, we talk about that in that era, in that time, that's just very natural. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't an age where it was unheard of. But then when I look at kids today, and I look at how they behave and their way of thinking, I'm like, there's no way a child, 13, 14, 15, really has the right mindset to be a wife or to do those type of things. And, so that was my 2 cents.
Oh, okay. Yes, Mark.
I think Martin hit it on the head last week when he said that the untouchable cow in this country is women. We have 2 consenting people doing wrong, and we're saying let's put one in jail. It would be just as ridiculous to say let's put the woman in jail and let the man go free.
Interesting. So you're saying that neither should go to jail,
Correct.
and no victim and no victimizer?
Right.
Oh, okay. You said let the cow run around?
What's that?
What did you say about the cow?
Oh, the sacred cow that you can't touch.
Oh, you
like
can't
you
touch
said,
the
for
woman.
example,
Oh, I
you
see.
said there's a teenage girl.
Right.
Everyone's like, she's 13, the youngest possible age.
Right.
They all jump to that instantly. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is the
I
way
got you.
we view women, they're automatically victims. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know any better. They're just dumb. And nothing could be more sexist than that. You know what I
Amazing.
mean? Nothing could be more hateful towards women, assuming, judging them. They know nothing. They're dumb. They need to be taken care of like vegetables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. So
And-
no jail time for anyone.
Correct.
Okay.
And the woman could be a teenager, right, 19, and the man could be, by what you said, an adult, 18 and up, and be younger than her. By what you said, the scenario you gave, and everyone's saying he's 50, he's gross, and it's just a poor little girl tiptoeing through the tulips. She has no idea what she's doing.
So let me tell you why I brought this subject up about the victimizer and the victim. I watched this channel called Reelz. You ever seen that? And it's about real life. It's about people with money, actors and entertainers and all those kind of people, right? And they have real money. And you just don't know what they're going through behind closed doors. They're having horrible lives, right? So this guy, he used to do commercials for Subway. He was a fat guy growing up and really fat. And while growing up, he was depressed. He stayed to himself a lot. He was really out of it. And I think he grew up with his father and mother, I think. But he was still an outcast, like. He finally finished high school, went to college. And in college, he stayed to himself for the most part and just got really, really fat. And somewhere down the line, he decided that he was going to try to lose weight or something, right? So he heard about Subway and that they had these little calories in their food. So he started eating the sandwiches. He was less calories, fewer calories, right? So he started eating all these sandwiches, and over a couple of years, he just lost tons of weight. You guys remember that guy? Yeah, Jared. What's his name? Jared. Yeah, that's his name. It's Jared, right? And so Jared lost weight. And so apparently the school paper wrote about it. That's how the word started getting out. And then after a while, some news article picked it up. And they say, Subway were using him in commercials. He was all over the place. They built, I think, hundreds of more Subways as a result of him being in these commercials. Then he started speaking at schools, and he just traveled around the world. He was worth $15 million at one point. $15 million. I'm going to get me a Subway today. Forget about the gym, right? And then, so the guy was like, and everybody in the world loved him. Everybody wanted him in their life. We want Jared, right? And so Jared made a lot of money, and then he started a foundation. Because they said, you make all this money, you should be acting like you're giving something back, right? So he started a foundation to help kids with obesity. And then But Jared was so busy, according to the story, he hired some other guy. He met this other guy, so a loner guy, kind of. And this guy started running the foundation for him. In the meantime, Jared is out doing his thing. And Jared had a desire to be with young girls, kid girls, right? He wanted to be with them sexually, but he would never do it. But he would think about it. And then one day he met this guy who, a loner, kind of a guy too, but had the right look. And this guy was, Jared started telling this guy about his desires. Oh, I like to get with kids, blah, 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 turn me on, blah, 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 right? And so the guy would befriend him. And so eventually Jared let the guy run his foundation while he did his thing. And then Jared was interviewed by a reporter. They were going to do the story on him, a female reporter, right? And so this reporter befriended him, interviewing him, and Jared started telling this woman, eventually after a number of years, started telling this woman about his desires of being with kids. And so the woman went and told the FBI that Jared has these desires to be with kids. He has not done anything. So they couldn't arrest him because you used to have free thought to have desire, right? And then, so this woman, the FBI told this woman, make sure you secretly record his conversations. So for 4 years, she secretly recorded his conversations. And he was talking about the desires he had, but he had not done anything. And then this other guy that took over the foundation, apparently he had the same desires, right? And so he started hooking up with kids online, girls online. And so he was taking pictures of them, he did all this. And something happened. They finally Jared did it. I forgot how the story went. And they found all these things online, right? And they destroyed his foundation as a result. The one guy went to prison, and then Jared went to prison. All of a sudden, as soon as the story broke, Subway erased Jared's life. They took him offline. They took away all his. And Jared was in movies, all kind of stuff, and they just erased his life as though in just 1 minute his life was gone, as though it never existed. And Jared went to prison, and then the family sued. You don't have a personal lawsuit thing. What do you call that? Civil suit, yeah. They had that. He had to pay out $1 million. He had agreed to put out $1 million to pay the family, but then he ended up paying more because they sued him more. They gave Jared, I think they offered like 5 years or something like that in prison, but he went to some court, and the judge said, no, we're giving you more. They gave him 15 years in prison. Isn't that amazing? But here's the kicker. Jared had therapy and all that. He went to professionals for therapy. Nobody was able to help him deal with the real problem. And they just blamed the guy and threw him in prison and got rid of him. Thought no more about him. And I bring that up to say that for a couple of reasons. What I realized is that they didn't know it was a spiritual problem. They didn't know, no one paused to think, there's no way in the world that Jared would be right on top of the world in a physical way like that. Coming from where he came from, popular, making all that money, living a life, that Jared would decide on his own, I'm going to go and just mess up my life. No one knew that. They never thought of it as a spiritual thing going on. They gave him therapy, best therapy, it didn't work. And no one said, it may be spiritual, let's deal with that, to help the guy out. No one did it. They just locked him away, and I think he's still in prison. I don't know if he's out. But they went to all the experts, and the experts did not have the answer. I bring that up because the little kids are already victimized because they coming from angry, screwed up parents, right? As Cheryl would say, screwed, right? Parents. And then Jared was screwed up because he came from a screwed up parents. He grew up miserable, right? And just because he gained all the physical wealth and material things, that didn't change that spirit. Because as soon as he got comfortable, that thing came alive, really, because Jared was like liked by the world. So that thing told him, you can do what you want now, Jared. You're the man. They don't care. And that spirit deceived him to cause him to believe that he was going to get away with it. That he was going to get away. And I want to just tell you, it's not you. It's the spirit that made a home in you. That's why you must be born again. No psychiatrist or therapist or a preacher, anyone can help you overcome that. You got to see that it's a spirit in you. You're possessed. You really, I know in the Bible it talks about how Jesus laid hands on folks and they were healed. And I think some people just touched them and they were healed, right? When you overcome that anger, you're being healed of spirits. Those spirits are being rebuked from you. You don't have to lay on hands anymore. You can just repent for being wrong, for being angry. That spirit that made a home in you caused you to become angry. Because here you are, you're a little kid, you're innocent, you're having fun, and then all of a sudden somebody makes you angry. The moment you judge, in your mind that spirit enters, and it starts to make you think that it's the real deal, right? And it starts to drive you. So the girl that's the prostitute have a spirit in her. She needs to overcome spiritually, and so does the guy. And I understand you're right about the law. We need some law of the land, but the laws are easy now. You can steal up to $900, right? But it's the spirit that we need to get back to dealing with. Show people how to overcome the spirit of what's happening. Because they're not doing that with the degrees in the expert world and stuff like that. And Jared, he seemed like a nice guy. He went through hell, and he couldn't help it. He didn't know. And I'm sure he knew something was making him do it, but he didn't understand, it seems. And they just threw him away. The world will eat its own. That's why you have to be in the world, but not of it. We do need the law of the land to contain the lawless of the heart. So a lot of people don't follow the laws of the heart. So you definitely need the law of the land that need to be enforced. But even those who are enforcing the law of the land need to see what they're doing. You know, and when I was growing up, 15-year-old girls did get married because they were young, they were strong, and they had good husbands, as you said, and they built strong families. Now you have to wait till they're 90. Nobody want no old woman be having no baby, right? You want a healthy baby. No one of these babies not healthy. The woman too old, right? But the women got mad. They hate the men. They passed all these crazy laws, right? But I remember growing up, they talked about the spirit that made you do what you didn't want to do, and how to overcome that and stuff like that. We need to get back to the spirit. These men and women are not just waking up in the morning and decide, I want to go and do bad things. You're being influenced. That's why you must be born again, so you can be influenced by good. But I thought it was interesting how they just wiped that guy's life out, threw him in prison, and that's it. Sued him for all his money, and now his name is, he's just suffering. That's how the world's going to do you. That's why you got to be in it, but not of it. They'll chew you up and spit you out. And so on this show Reelz, then I take Ernest, on this show Reelz, they show all these actors and entertainers behind closed doors. They are drunks, they are alcoholics, they are sexing and marrying and breaking up and on drugs and medication and depression. But when they come out on the red carpet, it look like they're all happy and beautiful and rich. And you think, oh, I want to be that, right? Don't want to be that. It's reversed now. This is the kingdom of heaven within, and he will add all that stuff unto you. Your livelihood, your job, your whatever you need, right? Beforehand, it used to be the other way around. They tried to get stuff and be somebody. But now you have to live from within, and God will add. But if you try to make the world add it to you, they're going to screw you up. They're going to destroy you. So don't try to be like them. Seek the kingdom of God first and live from within rather than living from without. Let me take Ernest first, and then I come. Yes?
Yeah, so got a question. So as far as, Satan will give you scenarios or ideas and thoughts to kind of, you watch it, you step back, you watch it play out. And I hear you say that we don't have free will, and we're all making our own choices, right?
Right.
So the scenario's playing out, you're watching it, you know it's wrong, you don't go with it, right? Or you're not going with it because you can see that it's wrong. But let's, in a situation, at a certain point, it seems like you could decide to go with it, right? So
That's such a good point.
Is that decision that makes you think it's you? Is it just that you're not aware enough to see that it's not you? Or is it you actually deciding to go along with it because you want to enjoy the pleasure or whatever.
You never, ever, ever, never, but ever, Mamma Mia, hola, si senor, hold your wallet. You never decide to go along with it. But when you struggle with it, not to go along with it, eventually it convinces you that you can get away with it, that it's okay. And then, so you just go because you're fighting it. That spirit, right? Suggestion. But if you don't fight it and don't judge it as right or wrong, don't warfare with it at all, because it's a spirit, there's nothing you can do about it. And so it makes you start thinking it and you start feeling it. The moment you get mad about it, the moment you try not to do it, the moment you struggle with it, you give it power over you because you're playing God. But if you just don't judge it as right or wrong and know that it's something else driving you, you can overcome it. You won't give in to it. You can't fight. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits. So you got to stop fighting with the spirits. Don't judge yourself. And what happened is that you've been taught that it's wrong, right? And so if Satan is seducing you to do something like that, you're already judging it as wrong. And so you're fighting it because you've been told that it's wrong. And you believe. That's why you got to let these words go in one ear and out the other, because words set you up. Teaching set you up to judge right and wrong. And the knowledge of good and evil is not good. So when that thing comes, just be aware, but don't judge it as right or wrong. Be aware. Don't fight against it. You're less likely to give into it. You'll overcome it. But if you fight it, you give it power over you. How many times have you said, I'm not going to do it again? I can't believe it, right? And you end up doing it because you're fighting not to, rather than being relaxed and observing it. And it's the light of God that would, if you relax and don't judge it, don't play God, he will destroy it. He'll take it away from you. And then the world, they set kids up anyway to do this stuff. They're teaching about sex the moment you pop out of, they got drag queens doing the, what you call that dance? Twerking in front of kids. So they'll set you up to put you in jail. And then they'll blame somebody else for it. But don't fight against the spirit. Observe it, but don't fight it. That makes sense? Yeah. We have everything we need on the inside. And it's interesting how things can be revealed to you. You could just see it like, wow, that's deep, right? Well, we have it all, but you got to live from within the New Testament and not the old one. You can't go the way of the world. And before the New Testament, it was see all these traditions, right? Do all these things. Kill the calf and all that stuff, right? Now that we're born of the Spirit, you don't have to do all those things. Everything is done from within now. And so before you have to go out there to get the world to feel better. Now you go inside and the world is added to you, and that way you're in it and not of it. And believe me, he'll take care of you. He really will. He'll find you jobs. He'll have you in the right places at the right time. But just live your life. Don't compare it to anyone. Don't try to have as much as someone else has. Don't try to, just be you. And let them, wish them well. Let them walk on the red carpet, you know what I'm saying? But don't want to be like them. Wish them well. And just simply live your life, and it'll be amazing. Don't try to make yourself be that way. You can't make yourself not be a friend of the world. All right? As you're seeking the kingdom, and once you're born again, he will draw you out of the world. Even though you're in it, you won't be of it. It's a spiritual thing that happens from within you. It really does. All right? Yes, sir.
I'm a little confused, Jesse. So, being a child molester is not wrong?
I wouldn't judge it as right or wrong.
So I don't understand.
Because you're judging it based on what you've learned right and wrong is. But when you discern right from wrong, that's what it guides you.
Right, so if I discern
and you'll be able to help somebody. Let's say that you saw a child molester, right? And you already have a decision about him or her. You won't be able to help him.
I discern that it's wrong, and I also understand what you're saying, that it's a spiritual battle. But I think at one point, when you, like you said, it's not a choice that you make to do that.
Right.
At some point, when you lose that battle, for whatever reason, and you cross that line, and you actually do something, you know, there's a point, I think, where, you know, you can get help from people. You know, you can say, I'm having this battle, I need help with this. But when you lose that battle and you cross the line,
that's another interesting point. Jared told people
have
what he was
time.
thinking, right? He told people, he was reaching out, but no one knew how to help him. Instead, they turned him over to the cops. No one said, you know what, Jared, you need to go and forgive. It's a spiritual thing driving you. This is not you. Don't hate it. Go and forgive so you can overcome the spirit.
No, but what I'm saying is-
Instead, they set him up to destroy him.
I see, I can look at myself and I see evil things inside me, the devil talking to me, telling me to do things.
Right.
I have time, though, to fight that battle and to, do my silent prayer and work it out before I go.
But Jared didn't know about all that, though, and no one told him. If there had been someone around him with insight, they would have suggested that. When Jared started telling that woman, reporter, and they took 4 years to set him up. Out of the whole 4 years, no one said, this guy got a spiritual issue, so before he gives into it, let's try to show him how to overcome the spiritual thing that's driving him. But instead, they just gather information to destroy him.
But
they never try to help him.
That's a completely different, that's just a stupid thing. I mean, if you're having that kind of trouble, you don't go and tell a reporter that you're having thoughts about touching kids. I mean,
right.
You go tell someone appropriate. You don't. So that's a whole other thing. But I just think.
Who is the appropriate person to tell? You got to go on Google and find out.
Yeah, I gotta Google that.
Where
Google
Nick?
that.
Nick
I don't
can find
know.
it on Google.
I don't know, but a reporter is not the one. A reporter is not the one.
That's especially a female reporter. This guy was telling a female reporter. He was telling Satan's daughter. And instead of the woman helping him, she's like, okay, Daddy, I got this one.
So I think there's a time to fight, but then there's also a time to be punished as well when you lose that fight. And I don't think that it's at all appropriate to take away that punishment.
Well, I said that we need the law of the land, but I'm showing you the bigger picture of when this guy was really dealing with this before he did anything. He was telling people, and nobody told him how to overcome it. But they loved him. They took his money. They showed up at these events. He can mention whatever Jared wanted, they gave it to him. And they were happy to do it, right? But nobody ever said, you know what, man, you should overcome this. You can overcome it. Don't let that go, or how to overcome it.
Maybe I'm interpreting this wrong, but what I seem to be hearing a lot of in here was that it's not possible for an older man to take advantage of a little girl. And I don't agree with that at all. I don't know if that's what's being said, but
You said they're saying it's not possible?
I heard from people in here talking that it's not possible for an older man to take advantage of a young girl, that the little girl is taking advantage of him.
Well, I made the point that I hope most people are making, that they both have been traumatized spiritually in the home. That's why we need perfect parents. The prostitute girl on the street has already been traumatized in the home. That's what drives her to the street. She's been separated from God. She's separated from her father. She has these issues, right? So she's out there looking for love, and the guy that's going out there to buy it, or the woman, they're looking for the same thing. They've been traumatized already as well,
Right.
and they're both looking for the same thing. It's just one body is bigger than the other, one is older than the other, but it's the same spirit. It's the same cause, and the effect, the way to overcome it's the same. It's no different in spirits.
So you don't think that age has anything to play in the matter? It has no effect in the matter? The
No,
age?
because an older man or woman who has not overcome the spirit can give in just like a younger child would. Because you're driven, influenced by evil or influenced by good. You don't have a choice. You're not in control. They both are being influenced. The girl is looking for something, and so is the guy. And they both know that something is wrong. That's why they sneak and do it, right? But they don't know how to overcome it, exactly what it is and how to overcome it.
Does the guy still need to be punished?
There should be laws of the land. But the punishment needs to be just.
Is throwing him in jail not just?
It's all depending on the incident.
Okay.
But we definitely need laws of the land for the lawless because most people are not living by the law of the heart now. So we need to contain them. Look at Black Lives Matter. They need containment. You know what I mean? Look at Antifa.
Yeah.
We need laws of the land,
Yeah.
but yet the laws are not won't even contain those people.
Right.
they'll try to contain people like Jared, put them in jail,
Right.
instead of helping him to overcome.
Yeah, I don't think that these people, I don't think that type of person, like you asked earlier, should they be killed? I don't think they should be killed, but I think that once you've betrayed society like that, you need to be put away. You can't
But
be
you haven't
allowed.
portrayed society. Society made you that way. They made him that way because he was already in a fallen state. But nobody said along the way, hey, man.
I think,
They're like,
I think
"Jared, we
that's an
love you."
excuse. I overcame society, you know? Why can't other people do it?
Because maybe no one Jared didn't hear the truth, or it just didn't happen for him. But the point is, nobody knew it was a spiritual thing. They sent him to experts. He saw all kind of expert therapists and psychiatrists and all that. They're like, no, we can't do anything. But you're fortunate that you're waking up, that you heard the
No,
truth.
I am. And I know that other people aren't as fortunate as me. They're not
Right.
as fortunate as me to be in here.
Right.
They're not as fortunate as me to have the experiences
That's
that
why
I've
when
had.
you guys wake up, and ladies, you got to be examples out there. You know, be honest. Just don't hate, but tell the truth, because it's not the person, it's not the physical person, it's the
Some
spirit.
people would call that privilege. But privilege. But I don't. But I guess the last thing I'll say. The last thing I'll say is that I don't think we can make exceptions just because I've been fortunate to have certain teachers.
Well, I don't think anyone is talking about making it. We're just talking about cause and effect and how the world deal with things as opposed to the children of God. Like, that's why the children of God should not get caught up in the world's courts and things like that, because they will destroy you. They hate good anyway, they will destroy you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
As far as punishment goes, don't you feel that we don't have like the answer to people's, well, we know they need to forgive, but as far as punishment goes, don't you think that we like are too harsh when it comes to punishment?
That's why
Shouldn't
we need...
you offer somebody a solution, and then if, you know, because once the problem is solved, then you don't need to punish them, because their behavior will change.
Yeah. That's why we need reasonable people running the courts and the government. When I hear Christians say that we should not be involved in government, that's a horrible mistake and a horrible way to think. Because if you're not involved in government, making these laws and enforcing them in the right way, then the children of Satan would take over the government, and they will make laws that are not just. They will make laws to punish some that they like, don't like, and then don't punish the one they agree with and like, right? Because the children of Satan are not going to punish their own in the way they'll punish one of us.
And then I was at home, I was observing my thoughts, and I was like, okay, because I wanted to just go, I was like, now I want to go to each church and then just, you know, ask everybody if they forgive. But I also want to come here too. You know? So I came here.
Yeah.
But
if your thoughts tell you to go to another church and say that, don't do it. It's a setup.
really?
Yeah. Because it's just going to make you go and make a fool of yourself.
Well, just call it out though, right?
But if God wants you to do it, it'll happen naturally. It wouldn't be any thought about it. You just find yourself doing it.
Oh, yeah, that's why I came here.
Yeah. But if Satan tell you to go to the church and tell the folks to forgive, right, do not do it.
No,
He will have you in the right place at the right time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he really will.
But shouldn't we, since we know, shouldn't we be in the streets like protesting? Christians?
You've been talking to Joel? Joel been trying to get us out there too. Shouldn't we be rallying? And you're right, we should be out rallying and doing things. We used to do a lot of it, but we've cut back a little bit, but now Joel is here. Lots of energy. We're going to start protesting, rallying more. You're right about that. So I'm glad you young people involved.